On the 25th, the border between Thailand and Cambodia erupted into a second day of heavy artillery exchanges, marking the most violent confrontation between the two nations in over a decade. What began as localized gunfire has now escalated into a full-scale military conflict, spreading to new areas along a volatile 210-kilometer stretch. At least 16 people have been confirmed dead, many of them civilians. Thailand accuses Cambodia of deliberately targeting civilian zones, while Phnom Penh fires back, alleging that Thailand used cluster munitions, a controversial weapon condemned globally for its indiscriminate impact. As explosions echoed across the provinces of Ubon Ratchathani and Surin, the Thai military reported a relentless barrage from Cambodian BM-21 rocket launchers. In response, Thailand returned fire with strategic counterstrikes, claiming they matched the tactical situation. Over 130,000 civilians have been evacuated on the Thai side alone. Accusations are flying from both capitals. Each government claims the other sparked the initial provocation near a contested border zone, and what started as rifle skirmishes has now grown into an exchange of heavy bombardments at no less than 6 hotspots. The firestorm ignited on the 24th, mere hours after Thailand expelled the Cambodian envoy, following injuries to a Thai soldier, wounds that Bangkok blames on a landmine allegedly planted by Cambodian forces. Phnom Penh denies any involvement. According to Thailand's Ministry of Public Health, 15 Thai citizens are confirmed dead, including 14 civilians, and 46 others have been wounded, 15 of them soldiers. Cambodia so far has remained tight-lipped about their casualties, though local sources report 1 civilian dead, 5 injured, and over 1,500 families displaced. In a rare escalation, Thailand deployed F-16 fighter jets to strike a Cambodian military target, a move that underscores the disparity in air power between the two nations. According to the UK-based CSIS think tank, Cambodia possesses no fighter aircraft and has far less military hardware. International response? Immediate. The United States, Thailand's longtime ally, called for an immediate ceasefire and the protection of civilians. Meanwhile, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, as the current ASEAN chair, reached out to both sides urging a peaceful resolution. He said, "I welcome the signs of goodwill from both Bangkok and Phnom Penh, and Malaysia stands ready to facilitate dialogue in the spirit of ASEAN solidarity." But Bangkok wasn't interested. On the 25th, the Thai Ministry of Foreign Affairs publicly rejected mediation efforts from third parties, including the US, China, and Malaysia. Spokesman Nikhad Balanchura stated that bilateral talks, and only bilateral talks, were the solution. On the 24th, President Emmanuel Macron of France made a move that sent shockwaves across global capitals. He announced plans for France to officially recognize the state of Palestine this coming September during the United Nations General Assembly. In a letter to Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, Macron confirmed France's intentions, pledging not only to proceed with recognition, but to pressure Western allies to follow suit. This stunning declaration would make France the first major Western power to take such a stance, potentially shifting the diplomatic tide long dominated by smaller nations critical of Israel. For many, it's a historic stand. For others, particularly in Tel Aviv, it's a declaration of war in disguise. Israel, locked in a brutal war in Gaza since the October 7, 2023 Hamas attacks, sees Macron's recognition as a reward for terror. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu denounced the move as a gift to Hamas and warned it could spark a new proxy front backed by Iran. Inside Israeli circles, Macron's decision has stirred fury. Israeli diplomats have reportedly spent months lobbying Paris, describing this recognition as a diplomatic nuclear avocado, a metaphor for a soft exterior masking an explosive core capable of rupturing the France-Israel alliance. And the backlash didn't stop there. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio labeled the decision a slap in the face to the victims of October 7th, claiming it empowered Hamas at a time when international pressure should be isolating extremist actors, not validating their cause. Macron, however, hasn't blinked.
For months, insiders say the French president has been quietly preparing this moment, steadfast in his belief that a two-state solution is the only viable path forward. Despite resistance, he's chosen this critical timing, just before an upcoming UN ministerial summit, to forge a path for hesitant nations, those who have long debated Palestinian recognition but feared the political cost. This gambit is meant to give France's delegation moral high ground and provide cover for countries like Spain, Ireland, and several Latin American states who are reportedly on the fence. In Macron's eyes, this isn't about choosing sides, it's about reviving a long-dead peace process. But in the eyes of critics, it's about choosing the wrong moment and handing leverage to those who would rather see Israel destroyed. The world now watches. Will Macron's bold move force a diplomatic breakthrough? Or will it ignite a firestorm that divides the West?
The mysterious death of Jeffrey Epstein in a New York prison cell in 2019 may have closed a legal chapter, but it opened 1,000 questions, especially for former U.S. President Donald Trump. Despite being vocal about exposing Epstein's circle, Trump is now tangled in the very web he once vowed to unravel. Back in 2024, during his campaign, Trump demanded the Justice Department release the full Epstein client list. But when pressed again this year, he pivoted, blaming the Democrats for crafting a hoax to mislead America, while also scolding his own base for continuing to question his role. On June 17th, Trump called on the DOJ to release more files tied to Epstein. He also announced a lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal, denying the authenticity of a letter allegedly written by him to Epstein. He claims it's a fabrication. But the questions persist. Did Trump know more than he admitted? Why did Epstein list 14 contact numbers for Trump, Melania, and close aides in his infamous Black Book? What happened at those lavish parties in Manhattan back in the 90s? In 2016, a woman using the alias Katie Johnson filed a lawsuit alleging she had been raped at age 13 by both Epstein and Trump at one of those parties. The suit was later dropped, citing legal technicalities, but the stain never fully disappeared. The Epstein saga now threatens to fracture Trump's once loyal conservative base. Despite his tough rhetoric, Trump has not followed through on promises to declassify Epstein documents. And when Elon Musk, a once staunch ally, posted allegations of Trump's Epstein ties this past June, only to delete them hours later, the speculation exploded anew. The case has grown into a political fault line. A growing number of Republicans are joining Democrats in demanding transparency. House Speaker Mike Johnson, a Trump supporter, has urged the DOJ to release any remaining files. But the Justice Department's recent 11-hour video release meant to quash murder theories left more questions than answers, especially as a key 1-minute segment of prison footage was missing. A memo from the DOJ and FBI last week claimed no further investigation is necessary. But for skeptics, that only proves the opposite. Trump is walking a tightrope, simultaneously downplaying the scandal as boring, while insisting he'd support disclosures if credible evidence existed. Yet the American public isn't convinced. The deeper they dig, the more bipartisan demand grows. Who knew what? Who protected Epstein? And just how far did his influence reach? The shadows of Epstein still stretch across the highest levels of power, and not even a former president may escape the reckoning.